Excellent. No. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Denver Bronco Roundup, brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, I should say. Brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Sponsored by the amazing Morgan Trinkets. I'm going to be your host, man. I'm here. I'm live. Looks like it's going to be without a hitch, man. Last Friday, I was gonzo. My internet just went off the radar, but I'm back, man. I'm your host, Keith Brugman, but I'm not alone, man. I got the panel, 3 of the horsemen, 3 of the 4. That's not too bad. We got Trevor Salzman, and we're going to say hello to him right now. How you doing, Trevor?
I'm doing great, Keith. Excited to be here, and just excited for training camp. We're hearing a lot of good things coming out of Broncos camp. With everything going on, sounds like we should be a little bit more optimistic because Sean Payton sounds like he's a little more optimistic of the future and says the plan is going up to par so far with this football team. Actually, he's praising this year's draft class already, so very interesting already.
Ooh, maybe. Who knows what's to come with all of that, man? Just getting started with training camp, just getting started tonight, and then we cannot get started without saying hello to the one, the only, Albert Mile High Dutchie. How you doing tonight, Albert?
I'm doing excellent. It is a wonderful day. It was hot here, over 95 degrees, so and a little humid. So, but it was my day off, and Michelle and I got a lot of things to do.
There you go. Well, if we're going to talk weather, we finally got a break. It was cool. The smoke cleared out. We had a little bit of sprinkles, but man, I got to get over to the posse, man, because they're already blowing up. They're already in here. They're already watching. They're already dropping stars, and there's a lot of hellos we got to get to as well, man. Starting off with the guy who came in before the show even started, Mr. Ernie Mays, saying "Go Broncos country only." Mr. Ernie Mays, one of our biggest, proudest supporters. He's ready for the show before we are. If you're following Ernie Mays, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Appreciate all the support. Ernie Scott's coming in saying good evening, Bronco fans. Man, can't wait, buddy. Can't wait, man. I'm telling you what, this pads on, this Sean Payton, outside of maybe a snarly day or two, has gotten me excited. And excited to say hello to Graham. Thumbs up to you as well, Graham. I think that's a thumbs up or a hello. That's a wave. There we go. Yeah. We got a hi all from Pearl, our fantastic sponsor over at Morgan Trinkets. We'll talk more about them later. We have 100 stars being dropped by Mr. Michael Ronquillo, the Ronk himself, ladies and gentlemen, saying good evening, Keith, Albert, Trevor, big orange and blue hearts, giving us the big hello or clapping it up. Oh, Mile High Salute. That's what it is. I'm telling you, I got a eye appointment in the near future, by the way, guys. That being said, thank you very much, Michael. I'll let Trevor and Albert say thank you as well, man, because dropping 100 stars nice and early and just saying hello. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Again, Michael, just want to appreciate you for everything you do. I mean, again, every show, Michael's in here, helping us out and just being a part of the posse, Michael. And again, the stars are just a bonus. You guys being here means everything to us. Just subscribing, liking, just being here, discussing, our favorite team with us and breaking it all down and remaining positive. That's one thing we definitely need to keep in mind. Just try and remain positive in any situation that comes by.
Yeah. Why not be positive, man? We only go around this And we only go around once, so let's just put it that way. And so might as well be positive while we're here. Albert, say hello to Michael Ronquillo. Give him a little bit of love for dropping stars. Oh, no, Mike. There you go.
Yeah, it is very well appreciated. All you guys do for us, and especially stars. It's just like the whipped cream on top of the ice cone, and that would be more in Keith's ballpark.
There you go. Whipped cream, sprinkles, a little bit of cherry. Yeah, absolutely, Michael. We appreciate it, man. Well said, Albert. Say hello to Paul, saying Keith's the maestro. I appreciate it. Graham's got it going on, saying football is getting closer. Absolutely, buddy. Those pads on, like I said, that's a big jump right there. Howdy, all coming in from Roy, saying howdy, Keith, Trevor, and Albert. Nice to see you. Nice to have a little news on training camp. Yeah, it's been great, man. It's been great getting to it all. Send some rain here, please. Absolutely. Even Sis is jumping in saying, hey, guys. Hello, Leanna. How's it going? Good to talk to you. Haven't talked to you in a while, so at least good to see you here. Patrick Wiltsey coming in saying, aloha, boys, and the Rocket Man, and lots of coffee emojis. So Rocket Man's on a different level. We're just boys, and then there's the Rocket Man. I like it. All right. What else? Anything big in here? Thanks for cutting me some slack. Appreciate it. Getting turned on by some ice cream. D-Rock's coming in saying hello, fellas, and hello to the chat as well, man. Might get back to some of these bigger ones. I see Michael Ronquillo might have some interesting things to talk about. We'll note that he was the first one to talk about it. It was on our agenda as well. But, I want to get over to Trevor first, because Trevor had a little bit of breaking news. I might have a little bit more insight and detail than I know I have, but I think it's worth talking about. Trevor, what broke right before we hit the show?
Yeah, so it's from the past, and this is a name that we've brought up on the show in the past as a possible fit for the Denver Broncos. So I guess former free agent running back, now Green Bay Packer running back Josh Jacobs. The Broncos actually had interest in Josh Jacobs, bringing him here. Long story short, he was not interested because he wanted to play for a contender. That makes sense. I mean, in a way, because Green Bay, we know that they have their quarterback in place of Jordan Love. They paid him well. That's a team that, again, is probably in a better spot than where the Broncos are at right now. But it's just interesting kind of little tidbit in there. Like, we're starting to hear some of these names that maybe the Broncos were interested in now. I really do like Josh Jacobs. I said this many times. He was a Bronco killer. Every time the Broncos played the Raiders in the division, he always, just played his best game. It seemed like he really wasn't off his game when he played the Broncos. I love the fit. I wonder how much of this is, were they doubting the running back room a little bit? I think that's something to keep in mind as we go forward, because I do think maybe you didn't get your big-time running back this year and you didn't spend big on a running back this year, because Josh Jacobs got 4 years, $48 million. I think it was 12.5 guaranteed. But if this running back room doesn't produce this year and you don't have a 1,000-yard running back, you have to get that next offseason. That's to help Bo Nix. You have to run the football, and that's very, very important for this team to get that right this year. If not, I think it's time to clear that running back room, and you got to go out there and put the resources into it to go get that 1,000-yard running back, proven 1,000-yard running back that this team has lacked for a while now.
I'm gonna flip that a little bit to Albert, and I want his thoughts on. Well, actually, I'm gonna get Trevor. I'm gonna get your thoughts on this, and then I'm gonna have Albert answer Phil's 200-star question that he has, or a comment that he has. Trevor, are you okay if we don't have a 1,000-yard rusher, but we have 2 rushers that go for 1,600 yards
combined?
Yes.
Yeah, again, it's just about the production of the running back room, because Javonte Williams being Javonte Williams last year, again, that was not the Javonte Williams we want to see, but you didn't get much as far as from your other running backs. Jaleel McLaughlin looked promising, and I'm still very high on Jaleel McLaughlin, and we'll see what Estime has to offer as well. But I just think that you need that one running back that can really emerge. We hadn't seen that in a while, since probably Javonte before he got hurt. That was probably the last time you seen that from the Denver Broncos team. And it's just at some point in time, okay, you want to help your quarterback out, you have to run the football. And Sean Payton's talked about it multiple times. That's something that when Russ was here, he didn't do. He didn't do a very good job of it, and that's something he relied upon pretty heavily in Seattle. So I think it's very important, not only just for your running back room, but for you also take that pressure off your quarterback. And I just think that this is the year, like it's a make or break year for a lot of these running backs in this running back room currently.
I can just see this being kind of flipped from the old script of having the single running back that really goes for 1,000 yards to this definitely being a committee, especially when you start looking at the names in the room and the ability and the draft position and you name it. You know what I mean? It looks like a committee rather than a sole running back to me. So I definitely think that we could get a ton of yards. I just don't know if we're going to get it out of one particular guy. Albert, I got to throw Phil McLaughlin's comment up here. Coming in with 200 stars, man. Phil, thank you so much, man. You have come on like a supporter like none, no other, and we appreciate anybody that can drop the stars. We appreciate anybody that comes in and comments. You guys are amazing, but Phil, dropping stars, appreciate you a ton. He says, good evening to Keith, Rocketman, and Dutchie. Let's hope Dulcich can stay healthy. I'll stumble over my Dulcich right there, but Albert, is that a key? Is that a key this year? Does it have to be Dulcich? Does it have to be him? Does it have to be someone in that tight end room? But does it have to be Dulcich? I mean, to me, Kroll is a great story, but I mean, this is a guy that was not taken high in the draft. He's coming into his own in this position. Even Sean Payton, when he was in his press conference, pushed back a bit against Kroll being the number one guy out there so far in training camp, saying, whoa, no, we got Quinn Miners, we got PS2, it's not Kroll, buddy. Okay. Does it have to be Dulcich? I know I've meandered on enough. What are your thoughts on this, buddy?
Yes, it has to be Dulcich. We have seen what type of weapon he can be over the middle. Even on the straights, he is one of that wide receivers as and you will see him more as a wide receiving tight end than anything else, I believe. He is fast. He has agility. He can do it as a tight end. Are we going to count on him as blocking? Not much, but as a receiving tight end, he can do that, and he can do it extremely well. We have seen it a couple times. So yeah, this has to be Greg's year. If he doesn't produce by week 4 or he's injured again, we need to get away from him and find a different one and give Krell maybe the opportunity. But it has to be the Joker because that is what he has been assigned for last year, and that has to be again. If you don't mind, I want to go to the running backs for a second. I rather have 3 running backs doing 700 yards each. That means they all stay a little bit fresh. He gets equal amounts of touches. I'd rather have that than just one guy doing 11 or 1,200. Because guess what? If you have 3 really good running backs above average, the opposing defenses having a way harder time to create a strategy against this because they never know which one they have.
I agree, man. Albert, go ahead, Trevor.
No, I was just going to say, so I agree with that to a point. But here's the thing. Look at these elite teams, at least these elite offenses in the NFL. Look at the 49ers. They have Christian McCaffrey they can rely upon. Look at the Eagles. They're about to rely upon Saquon Barkley, who was a former 1,000-yard running back. I just think there's something to be said if you can have one guy as a superstar running back that can get you 1,000 yards and not only just run the football, but can do different things like Christian McCaffrey can. He's a big part of that offense. So I think if you can invest in one guy and he can be that one guy that can really bolster your offense from just many different perspectives, I think that's something that you definitely want to invest in because this team, and this is why I also say this, because this team has tried this multiple years in a row now. How many times we could talk about, well, there's more than one running back, but if we can get this for multiple of them, then we'll be fine. It just hasn't happened. You haven't had a 1,000-yard running back since 2019 with Philip Lindsay. So it's just like I get like I want the running back room to be good, and I want to see this, right? But I think at some point in time, one of these guys has to emerge, in my opinion.
Okay, and here's the other side of it. If that Christian McCaffrey get injured, Who are you going to rely on then? Because you have not trained with anybody else. So therein lies the risk as well. If you just have one and you rely on that one, and he gets injured and he gets out of the game, we have seen it. We have seen it with Williams. So yeah, I disagree with that one.
Well, that's why I say though, if he gets hurt, but Christian McCaffrey, he trains all year long to be healthy for the most part. And I'm not saying you don't have depth behind these running backs. I'm just saying, I think at some point in time, you can't keep trying 2 or 3 running backs to try to produce when you're trying to find that one guy to emerge. So that's why I say Javonte Williams, this is a contract year. He's got to produce, or if not, he might not be on this roster next year. So if you can find that one guy that can be a playmaker running back, 1,000-yard guy, find it. But I just think it's right now the philosophy of multiple running backs try to find the production from. We just haven't seen it to this point. It hasn't been a philosophy that has worked for this team so far.
I'll say just a couple of quick words on that. I think you're right. I think Javante's in a year where he needs to produce or he can go. And I think that speaks to the depth that we've actually invested in. You're talking about investing in a guy like Phillip Lindsay as being our last 1,000-yard rusher. Well, I think we've put a little bit higher investment now into that position with all the guys that we have in that room. I think I still go back, though, that being said, I think this, if you look at a Sean Payton offense, I'm going to expect more of a committee type of running back comparatively to a single running back that totes the rock. You're always looking for that, though. Hey, if Jaleel McLaughlin can be a 1,000-yard rusher, can be a 3-down back, let him be that way. If that's Javonte Williams, if that's Audric Estime, if Blake Watson somehow makes it on this roster and he's the guy. I don't care if it's Samaje Perine. All of a sudden, he breaks out and has 3 great years. I don't care who it is. Yeah, we'll take it. You're always searching for that, 100%, Trevor. But I don't know if we have that in this roster. And those guys that you're talking about are very tough to come by. Yeah. I mean, they're McCaffrey's and Saquon Barkley's just don't grow on trees, unfortunately, So it's tough to find those guys, though, too.
Yeah, no, I understand. That's what I'm saying. They should be searching for that. I just don't think this, again, I don't want to be satisfied with this running back room. And because it wasn't just Russell Wilson last year. It wasn't. When they run the football effectively, we seen in that Cleveland Browns game. They run the football effectively. That was their best running game all season last year. Russell Wilson, the offense, it opened up. I'm not saying Russell Wilson wasn't the fault, but I'm just saying, like, the running the football, it opens up the passing game even more. So you just got to try to find that. That's part of building around Bo Nix is you got to try to find that Christian McCaffrey type running backs. Yeah, they don't grow on trees a lot, but they cannot not have production from the running back room and this continue. If you want to make the playoffs, you want to get better, you got to find that guy. That's part of drafting and developing. If that's part of investing some of that free agency money and do a running back that can get you that and has maybe proven to be that guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to disagree, man. Yeah. Great discussion, man. We haven't really gotten into the running backs, and heck, that wasn't even on the agenda. Also, what wasn't on the agenda is I want to know what jersey Albert's wearing right now, because that looks like that's a jersey that's on right now. Oh, it's the PS2. Nicely done. New PS2. Like this as well. Graham's also coming in saying Javonte reportedly looking good, talking about those running backs as well. I got to jump up all the way back up here. I was going to give Albert actually even more airtime, but then we got into this big running back discussion and kind of got off to the side. But I've been saving this hello and maybe something a little bit special from Mr. Albert Mile High Dutchy. I want you to introduce why it's so special before you break into it. But Kenny's coming in and saying, "Welcome back, Keith Dutchy," and last but not least, Trevor. My guys, seems like we are tied side by side, co-host to co-host. Joking aside, looking forward to watching the best, man. Tell you what, Kenny, you are the best, man. Comes on here as part of the show, has a fantastic show of his own, the New York Giants show, the K&K show, and that gets me right back to what you guys need to check out, and that's the K&K Sports Show, because Kenny is not only a fantastic supporter over here, but a fantastic podcaster over on the K&K Sports Network, and check out everything they got going on. But right now, we got to get over to Albert. Kenny, I hope you're tuned in. I hope you're listening. And Albert, what are we doing?
So I'm coming back onto a promise that we made. I got challenged during the draft to make a certain type of commercial. And Kenny was the one who brought it up. So, Kenny, this is for you. If you have a cup, your sore his throat, then you need to get one of these. Ricola.
There it is. Well done, Albert. Taking the challenge during our draft show, guys. If you're not checking out our draft specials as well, you'll have to check it out next year. I'm sure it's going to be amazing, man. We should get planning that already. Why not? But that being said, well done, Albert. Well done. And Kenny, hope you're out there enjoying every minute of that, or every moment of that. I guess it wasn't a full minute. So, Albert, good job, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. Michael's coming in and saying he has I have the Broncos jersey from winning Facebook Stars giveaway. Congratulations. That's awesome, buddy. I love that, man. I love it when anybody wins some Broncos gear. Clayton coming in and saying, hey, guys, smash that like and share button. And guess why this is empty, guys? Because he's dropping some stars, giving us a little bit of love. Thank you so much, Clayton. Man, you should wear that hat more often, Albert. Appreciate it. I'm liking that. All right, guys. We've been talking about running backs, man, but we got to get over to the training camp. We're already 21 minutes in. We haven't even talked even what was on the agenda. So let's skip, leap right into what we got talking about in the quarterback room. And that's, something that even Sean Payton didn't want to talk about necessarily in his presser. Trevor, is this a 2 quarterback race?
Yeah, I think it's starting to look like that way. Again, Sean Payton's not willing to commit to anything. And also this could change tomorrow morning if Zach Wilson ends up starting with the ones. But 2 days in a row, Zach Wilson has started being the third string quarterback up to this point. So I think the tides are kind of turning in the quarterback room. I think it needs to, from everything we've heard. Again, we haven't really seen anything yet, but from everybody that's there, the media members that are there, it sounds like Zach Wilson has been kind of behind Stidham and Nix up to this point. So it's something that I'm not surprised by. Again, I have lower expectations for Zach Wilson just because what they gave up for Zach Wilson. I think he needs some time to develop. He kind of talked about it a little bit as well during, he had his presser when the Broncos set up the presser for all 3 quarterbacks the other day. Zach Wilson kind of talked about it. Well, this is a different situation because I have, I need more time. He didn't come out and exactly say that, but that's kind of what one of the takeaways I took away from it was maybe it's not the end of the world for Zach Wilson if he needs more time and he's on this roster. I don't know that they're going to cut Zach Wilson. That's not what I'm suggesting, but if the Broncos believe in Zach Wilson's upside, in my opinion, I think you set him. He's a third quarterback on this roster, and you let him develop throughout the year. I mean, Bo Nix, Jared Stidham, whoever the guy is, if you believe in Zach Wilson, his future and his upside, I would keep him on this roster, and I would let him just sit and kind of watch and develop him that way because he's never got a chance to do that before since he's been drafted. He's truly never got a chance to develop since he's been drafted. Under Sean Payton, I think he has a great chance to do so and possibly revive his career. And I think he knows it, and I think everybody will eventually know it as well. And I think people already do probably notice it, that this is probably Zach Wilson's, I don't want to say last ride, but he needs to have a coming out party, per se. He needs to make strides in the right direction because he's starting to get older, and that 2021 draft class is starting to kind of fade away from us a little bit. So I think it's the Stidham and Nix though job right now. I just don't think they want to come out and say it per se yet, but it certainly is looking like that right now.
I'll have Albert answer this Zach Wilson question right from Graham then. Why is Zach still here? We got a little bit of explanation from Trevor and why he thinks, why he could be here, what he needs to be doing. But why is he still here? Is he just a camp body at this point? Graham is asking. What do you think, Albert?
I don't think that Zach Wilson is a camp body. I definitely don't think so. I think in the near future he will be, at some point he will be QB2, and then we have 2 pretty similar quarterbacks on the roster who can do it both. I think there's way more to Zach Wilson than we have seen yet. There's more than meets the eye with Zach Wilson. And what is better if you have 2 similar quarterbacks? If one gets injured, the other one can pick up, and it looks like there is no change. And I think that is the direction they want to go, and I think that is the direction that we will see, that I hope we will see. because Zach Wilson, like I said, there's way more that he can do, and he needs to be developed. He got treated just like Drew Luck with the Broncos. No support, no real effort into it. And then who can you blame? A quarterback. But it was not just Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, he was not put in obviously the best situation, especially last year when Nathaniel Hackett's your offensive coordinator. I think we would all say that that's not necessarily the best situation to be in. Got to say hello to the other half of the K&K Sports Show, and he brings up a great point. Got to bring this up. He says, "Hey boys, Marilat said it yesterday. One QB is trying to win the job. That's Bo Nix. One QB is not trying to lose the job. That's Jarrett Stidham. You will never win with a QB not trying to lose. Nix from day one. Broncos gain nothing by playing Stidham. Nothing." What are your thoughts on that, Trevor? Are we? Is James Marilat? I've had James Marilat once upon a time on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Sat down with him. I know that Kurt has as well. Is Marilat barking up the right tree here?
I mean, again, I've said it from day one. I think Nick should be the guy. But I do think there's something to be said that if he's not ready and the coaching staff feels like he's not ready week one, then I can see a little bit of in there where Jarrett Stidham could be the guy. I think this offense is ceiling for Jarrett Stidham is very limited. I think he's a lot of, dink and dunk kind of caliber quarterback. And, but I think he's been in this offense a little bit longer than Bo Nix, of course. So I want to be surprised.
I'm going to bring you back to this, though, man. In this training camp, is Bo Nix trying to win it? Is Jarrett Stidham just out there not trying to lose it? Is that your impression that you've gotten from this training camp?
Well, I think there's a little bit of both, though. I think with Jarrett Stidham, you're a veteran. You're not trying to, throw away your quarterback. You're probably your best chance to be the starting quarterback that you've ever had, honestly. And then with Bo Nix, I think he's obviously going to try to win it because he's been the first round draft pick, and there's just a lot of high expectations. Bo Nix is a competitor. He was a competitor, at Oregon. He's going to continue to be that. He's been a guy that was a competitor at Auburn, and then he transferred to Oregon. And I mean, he's been through the adversity, so he wants that starting job. He's hungry for that, and that's been praised with Bo Nix quite a bit as well. So I think it's a little bit of both. Of Jarrett Stidham not trying to lose a job, and Bo Nix trying to gain that job and try to take that from Jarrett Stidham, because Jarrett Stidham already had the upper hand with being this offense already a year.
Albert, do the Broncos gain nothing by playing Stidham, as Kurt is saying?
Yes. It should be Bo Nix. Bo Nix should have all the reps with the ones. Stidham is a backup. He is a career backup, and he will always be a career backup. To me, Nix already has won that position. You could see last week, we heard some reports on it. Oh yeah, he threw an interception. Guess what? The next couple plays he threw in touchdowns. He wasn't fazed by it. You will not see that from Stidham. And I think that's where the rubber meets the road. If you can overcome challenges just like that, like it is nothing, you win the quarterback position. You are at the top, and we don't see that from Stidham.
Yeah, I see the amazing leadership, I think, and let's face it, Bo Nix is not in the same position as Zach Wilson was when he came into the league, being a young player. No, Bo Nix has a little bit of age on him, and that's one of the things that I think has really helped him is in transitioning into this role and giving him an edge over a guy that has been in the league and has been in the system, and has him competing for that QB1 right now, is that maturity that he's came in with. And they've talked about, not just, on the field, but off the field, and just the way he's learning the system. And, there's a lot, and he seems to be checking a lot of the boxes. Dan's coming in and says, the Broncos just need to name Bo Nix the starter and quit wasting reps. Man, Dan, if you'd like, you could probably stand in for as our fourth horseman when Jody's not here, because I think I've heard the exact same quote for quote from Jody as well. Are we wasting reps right now, Trevor?
I don't think you're wasting reps because I think you need to make Bo Nix earn the starting job. I don't just want to give him the starting job. And I think that's what Sean Payton's motto has been throughout training camp, throughout OTAs, is I'm not just going to hand you the job. Zach Wilson was handed the job with the Jets, and how did that pan out for him? So that I think that's the thing with Bo Nix is, yes, he's very talented. He's clearly the future of this organization as far as at the quarterback position. But here's the thing, and I know his age, and I get that. But the thing is, he has to make sure that he earns that and he's ready for that. Because if he's not ready for that and he fails, you don't want to have to take him out of the game and then replace him with Jarrett Stidham. How would you look then? That's what I say. The right time he should be in there. Now, I have a problem if Jarrett Stidham starts the majority of the season because I think you need to get a good sample size of what you have with Bo Nix. But I'm not going to panic if he don't start week 1 because he could start week 4, week 5 down the line when he's ready. And be ready, and then be ready to take off then. But and clearly he's the starter. It's just I think more of Sean Payton wants him to earn that job, not just get that job.
Yeah. I think that's well put, man. I think that's well put. We've seen some of these QBs that have been just handed the starting job from the get, and maybe that's just too assumptive. Especially, I mean, don't get me wrong, we just got done talking about maturity, but for someone young coming in the league, getting all that power and the ego that comes with just being handed the job, try not to have that if you're a 21, 22, 23-year-old guy just got handed millions of dollars in the starting position. That's a lot, man. That's a lot to ask. Kurt is agreeing with Albert. Says Nix and Wilson going forward. Nix the starter and Wilson the backup until they find a better backup to Nix. Agree with that, Albert? 100%? Oh, that's a tough one. This is an absolutely tough one. Man, the maturity. The problem that I have is, right now, Zach Wilson not getting reps with the ones. Zach Wilson reportedly being the only guy who's still wearing the wristband. Zach Wilson struggling as much as he has in the past, and now that being your backup. Albert, you just got done talking about, what if your running back goes down and you have to turn to who if you're the San Francisco 49ers and McCaffrey. Are you fine with turning it over to Zach Wilson, given the path so far? Do you think that Sean Payton can turn the page come week 1, week 2 in case something happened?
I think that Zach Wilson is already on a better path than he was before. Yeah, will he struggle? Absolutely. Will he have a lot more to struggles with? Definitely. But here's the thing: you want to keep $7.5 million on the roster because you have 3 quarterbacks and 2 backups, 2 permanent backups. I'd rather have only $2.5 million on the line than $7.5 million. You can find probably an at least less expensive version of a Jarrett Stidham, put him on practice squad, and let them try it. If it doesn't work out, guess what? At least you have tried it. And it also tells you have confidence in Zach Wilson. If you put him on the practice squad, what does that do to his confidence?
I'll be honest, if Bo Nix went down and I didn't have Jarrett Stidham on here, I might be worried that I'd be begging Ryan Tannehill to come to Denver at that point and be worried. We'll find out. I'll be honest, I was a big Zach Wilson fan coming out of college. I don't think he got the fair shake, just like you said, Albert, up in New York. I don't know if his development is to a place where I have a whole lot of comfort rolling with him as the backup. I don't know if I know I got to get to a sponsorship here pretty quickly. I mean, we might be a little bit later. Pearl, if you're hanging on, I promise I'm getting to your sponsorship. But we have people dropping stars, and I don't know if we got on a what if agenda or what happened here, but Michael was the first one I noticed. He says, if the Broncos didn't have quarterback Russell Wilson in the first place, oh, yeah, it's a what if. Would you draft quarterback Bo Nix or tight end Brock Bowers in the past 2024 NFL draft? Coming in, dropping like what, 100 stars, 50 stars? I can't remember now. Dropping stars. Appreciate it. I'll have to scroll back through. I think it was 100 if I remember correctly, Michael. That being said, let's answer the question. Trevor, if the Broncos didn't have quarterback Russell Wilson in the first place, would you draft the quarterback Bo Nix or tight end Brock Bowers in the past draft?
Bo Nix. It just depends on your belief in him. So just a lot of depends on there, and I know it's a what if, but I know, and Brock Bowers is very talented. Don't get me wrong, and the Broncos need a tight end very badly. But Bo Nix, if he is a guy, and your coach believes, and this is Sean Payton, you have to go with the quarterback. That's the most important position in the game of football. Bo Nix should be the guy. If that's where you're picking, if that's the same spot you're picking at 12, and Bo Nix is still that last quarterback off the board, I'm thinking Bo Nix there. If you believe 100%, and it's got to be 100%, no doubts. Everybody, it's got to be more than just Sean Payton. George Payton's got to buy into that as well. Greg Penner's got to buy into that as well. If they all believe 100%, Bo Nix is the guy. Bo Nix, and it's not even close.
Bo Nix, and it's not even close. So I was trying to think about maybe the situation. Situation would be that we would have rocked with Drew Lock. Maybe we went 2 years and he was mediocre, and we are moving on, or maybe not moving on in this situation, since we would have never had Russell Wilson in the first place. In that situation, Albert, what are your thoughts for Michael? Would we have drafted a Bo Nix, or would we have went with tight end Brock Bowers?
Yeah, so if the Broncos still had Russell Wilson, then it would be Brock Bowers, no doubt about it.
But the question is, if we didn't even have him in the first place,
you have to go for a quarterback. You have to go for a quarterback.
I agree.
Unless your quarterback is not there anymore, and then it is the best player there. Brock Bowers is one of the best tight ends in the draft for this draft. Then I would draft Brock Bowers if your quarterback was not there anymore. But only if.
Only if. I agree, though, man. I would have to go quarterback as well. Tight ends at the top of the draft don't happen very often. The value has to be super, super high, and then you got to have it pay out. Phil came in with a question. If Zach Wilson had Sean Payton in the Jets, could he have possibly seen a different outcome for him? So if Sean Payton would have been his head coach from the get, basically, for Zach Wilson, I'm going to go to Albert. Albert, you've been more of a supporter than our good friend, the Rocket Man. What are your thoughts, man? If he would have had Sean Payton from the get up in New York, what would we see from Zach Wilson at this point? Would have been different?
Absolutely, because Payton chose him. He wanted Zach Wilson, and he really chose him. And I think that's where the difference is, because now you will support him. You choose this player, you have to support him. That's what Drew Lock had. He was not chosen by what is the
Fangio.
Fangio.
Yeah.
So that's why he didn't get the support. And I think therein lies the difference. And Sean Payton is one who creates an environment that wants to win. With the Jets, their entire coaching staff, their organization, I think it is just a piece of garbage over there, because there wasn't there was no real an organization there. It was all chaos and that kind of stuff. So you don't get the support. But with Sean Payton, you saw what he brought here to the Denver Broncos. It is an organized system here. And that's why I think Zach Wilson would have succeeded with the Jets if Payton was the head coach there.
Albert sounding like he's sitting down with Sean Payton and a latte out there, calling the Jets nothing but trash. No, Albert, you're good, buddy.
I'm going to use Kurt's favorite words. We are all in bed with whom?
Mr. Sean Payton. Check out the K&K Sports Show. Let's talk Broncos. If you could wrap this quickly on this, because we're like way over time. Answer Phil really quick for me if you can, Trevor.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm going to say Possibly. I'm not guaranteed that because Sean Payton hasn't developed a first-round quarterback, and he hasn't really developed a quarterback other than when he had Drew Brees, and he didn't. Again, Drew Brees was a Pro Bowler before he got to New Orleans, so I would say yet to be determined. I don't think it's a for sure though, 100% because we haven't seen Sean Payton develop a young quarterback for the long haul ever.
Yeah, hasn't needed to. So we haven't seen it. So this is a first-time attempt, really. Man, I tell you what's not a first-time attempt. A first-time attempt of me trying to go over a sponsorship for Miss Pearl and Morgan Trinkets. Pearl and Morgan Trinkets have been in business now for over 33 years. They were once a nationwide company, and all they do is specialize in Southwest pottery, Southwest jewelry, and estate gold at wholesale prices. Like I said, once nationwide, now they've kind of shrunken down. They were just rocking Cheyenne days recently. They're in northern Colorado, southern Wyoming. And I'm telling you what, guys, Morgan Trinkets has such beautiful pieces. I'm sure they had such an amazing show up there. I'm sure they sold a ton of inventory, but don't worry, they still got plenty. They still got plenty. Where do you find Morgan Trinkets? Over on Morgan Trinkets at Facebook, on Facebook. I'll drop the link here after we get just a second, but just search out Morgan Trinkets. You go over there, you find their inventory, you message Pearl, she finds the perfect piece for you. Anything you purchase over $50 ships absolutely free. All transactions are done by PayPal. Hit them up at one of their fantastic shows that they're always doing during the summer, especially. And then you can do all major credit cards and walk away with your purchase that day. Check out Morgan Trinkets for all your Southwest jewelry, Southwest pottery, and estate gold at wholesale prices. And by the way, silver as well. Sterling silver starting at $10 and going all the way up to $2,000. Check out Morgan Trinkets today. I'll drop the link. Fantastic. Hope, Pearl, you're doing well, Pearl. Hope, I know fires were near Pearl, guys. So our thoughts were going out to Pearl for sure. We're almost 3/4 of the way through the show, gentlemen. That being said, let's kick it over to what topic do you want to go to next, Trevor?
The center competition.
Where should we go?
Center competition.
The center competition. Yeah, the center. I'm sorry you had to say it like 3 times. You're like, Keith, stop talking over the top of me. Center competition is definitely one that's taking a turn, man. And taking a turn for, I think, in a place that a lot of people wanted to see. Talk about it, Trevor, as Forsyth got a run today with the ones, and what you would think that means. I'll get Albert's thoughts after.
Yeah, I think what it means first and foremost is, again, look, we've talked about Luke Wattenberg has taken the snaps at center to start out since minicamp. So now today, again, I think there's a reason for this, but Alex Forsyth took the snaps at center today. He started out taking the snaps at center today. From what I heard, the reports out there are that they ran the football a lot better today than they have when Wattenberg was at center. So what I think is, again, they've struggled the past couple of days. I think Sean Payton and the coach has seen that, running the football with Wattenberg, and I think they are making an adjustment and they're trying to see what they have in Forsyth. And I think it's more of an open competition now than maybe even it was a week ago with Wattenberg, because it seemed like Wattenberg was the guy for the longest time. But now we got Forsyth coming in, much better run blocker up to this point. We're starting to see those gaps for the running backs open up. Sean Payton knows, and he's detailed that again today. It's very important that this team runs the football and runs the football well. And I think if Alex Forsyth is that guy, that's ideal. First and foremost, everybody knows how big of an Alex Forsyth fan I am, because I think he's the right fit for this team at center. But I do think that for the long haul, if that's what it takes for Forsyth to be the guy and for you to run the football, then you make that adjustment and do it. Now, I don't think that the center position is exactly done per se. I still do think it's a competition, and we need to see more from Forsyth. Again, short sample size, it's 1 day that he started with the starters. But I think that I'm optimistic now that the starting center position maybe is not as big of a hole as it maybe would have been if we're seeing this type of production from Alex Forsyth that we've seen today. This team run the football a lot better than they have been.
I like it, man. We've been talking about it. Albert, you've been talking about it. We've been talking about 3-year plans for, it seems like, for, well, at least 2 years. So that being said, talk about Forsyth getting the run. What does it mean for you, sir?
It means, Sean Payton is sticking to his plan. He had a plan last year, and he is sticking to it. We all were wondering why Forsyth, why, because he doesn't fit anywhere. And now all of a sudden, they draft Bo Nix, and it starts making sense. So Bo Nix now has two players that he used to be playing with in his college years, and I think that it is an excellent idea. And so I want to go back to the little comment from the 31 teams and are garbage. And yesterday at work, I get into my car, and somebody stops me. I have a car that is painted Broncos, and somebody stops me and he says, "You're in the entire wrong area." And I just said, "No, I'm not. I'm just bringing you the light." And his girlfriend hit him so hard. "See ya, it is the Broncos."
Wonderful. For those of you who don't know, Albert proudly represents the Broncos out there in Missouri, near the Kansas City area. So, rocking the Broncos ride. Hats off, buddy. Hats off, man. A good laugh out loud coming in from Graham on that one as well. Boy, lots of things that I wanted to get to. Lots of new, a new face. I put it up there a little bit earlier, and I want to get back to a comment by the same gentleman or person. I just want to make sure I got it because I thought it was a good comment that we could maybe hit. But now you guys are just commenting, and oh, there we go. Appreciate it. Michael Tafoya coming in and saying, I hope Troy Franklin makes the team. I just wanted to address this really quick because even Sean Payton talked about it today in his presser about how deep that room is, about how much competition is going to be coming out of that room. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for anybody. If you were going to say on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the chance that Troy Franklin is on the 53-man roster, 1 meaning maybe he's not even on this team. Trevor, where are you putting Troy Franklin as far as making the team, making the roster?
I think it's a 4. I mean, again, this is the guy that they traded up for in the draft. They obviously valued Sean Payton. He said it in one of his pressers that he called George Payton the night before at the end of, I believe, end of the night 1, and he said this guy is still available. There might have been night 2. Either way, he called George Payton and said, "Hey, this guy's still available. Let's go up and get him." So that's a Sean Payton guy. And also, Keith, this is something we've heard reports. The coaches have been hard on Troy Franklin. And what's the meaning of that? Well, it means they care and care about his development. Yeah, they care about every player's development. But Troy Franklin, I think they know that maybe this is not the year that he's going to be the guy. But I think for next year, it's definitely a guy that they want to be established and more polished. I think for the long haul, not just this year when you have guys like Tim Patrick and you have guys like Josh Reynolds already under contract, Cortland Sutton, you have other veterans in the room. You don't necessarily need Troy Franklin to be that guy this year. So I do think that he'll be on this roster 100%, in my opinion. Maybe there's a slight chance that he isn't, and that's just if somebody just really starts breaking out. But I think Troy Franklin, I think he'll be on this roster 100%, and I think again he's the long haul with him. Think long haul with him because I do think he's got some raw tools a little bit. He needs be a little bit more polished, in my opinion.
Very good. I'll ask the same one. Wrap it up quick. I want to get to a few more things. What are you thinking, Albert? 1 to 5. 5, he's on that 53. 1, he's not on the team. Where's Troy Franklin land? I think you're on mute, sir.
He's definitely a 4. Remember, Sean Payton has a 3-year plan. We are in the second of the 3 years. So yeah, Troy Franklin doesn't have to be immediately to playing yet. He can come in halfway the season, get familiar with the speed and that stuff, and that is just perfectly fine. We have some really good alternatives, or not alternatives. Sutton is back. We know that now for sure. It looks like Tim Patrick is doing really well. So we are really there. Well, there. Now Mims has to step up. And don't forget, Greg Dulcich. He is a tight end that is going to be more like a wide receiver. So we have 4 people already there that can do the job with just those 4. I think we're pretty decent in wide receiver. So Franklin can have some. You can give him time to get acclimatized.
Yeah. I think he'll be on and off the 53 throughout the year. I think that's about where he's at. I'd probably give him a 3. He probably starts on the 53 just to be there, because you need to reserve that spot. But I could definitely see some of these guys who are a little bit more veteran getting a little bit more of a run during the season, him brought up and down and getting that opportunity, giving his own 3-year plan. Let's face it, Marvin Mims even last year had a fantastic run at the very beginning and then fell off. Jerry Jeudy was in front of him. Now I expect Marvin Mims to be jumping into a different role this year. It's not a direct path for Troy Franklin. I think he's going to have a similar experience to maybe what we saw from Marvin Mims. Hopefully not so on and off with the faucet as far as that's concerned. Biggie Bronco came in here early. And man, there's just so many names I haven't gotten to tonight. I'm going to see if I can pick out another one from a little bit earlier that I remember. But Big E Bronco came in. Maybe someone can help me with the who he's talking about here. He says, if Ben Powers keeps struggling, do you think they may stick at rookie in the backyard with the long hair? I don't know. Anybody, does that ring a bell for anybody? And Big E, if you're out there and if you can maybe help us out, that'd be great. Paul was coming in and saying, yes, Big E Powers needs to step up. And Michael Ronquillo coming in and saying, left guard Ben Powers hasn't been looking good at Broncos training camp. So wrapping all that together, man, Ben Powers is a guy I really liked. Ben Powers is a guy I thought would really come in here and be that probably one of the big first key pieces that we brought in when we brought in Ben Powers and Mike McGlinchey. Where do we go and how key is it for Ben Powers to step it up and start looking good at training camp? Albert, I'll start with you this time.
Yeah, he definitely has to step up if he doesn't do well. But we have seen that last year too. At training camp, he wasn't doing as well, and then during the season, we didn't see much problem with him. I am not worried about it. It will turn around. He will get better.
Very good. Over you, Trevor. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think it's Biggie talking about Frank Crum.
I was thinking about that. Frank Crum was a tackle, long-haired guy, backyard, Wyoming. That might make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. With Ben Powers again, I've been critical of Ben Powers and Mike McGlinchey as well. Ben Powers for me, I don't think he played up to the par and to what the Broncos have paid him up to this point. So I do think that there's something to say for that, and I think that he does need to prove something. That I think this year, I don't expect them to take Ben Powers out of this the lineup, the starting lineup. On this offensive line, I think he's going to be the guy. They're going to ride with him. They paid him big money. They're just not going to bench him unless he's hurt. Per se. So, and again with their contract, I believe with Powers they add void years to that contract, so they made it tougher to move off of him. That being said, I don't think that they're going to bench him at all. Ben Powers is simple, just like Mike McGlinchey. They just need to step up. I mean, you lost your third best offensive lineman, in my opinion, Cushenberry. You have kind of question mark at center right now. Time for one of these veterans, if not both of them, Ben Powers and Mike McGlinchey, I'm talking about, start stepping up.
Yeah, reports of McGlinchey looks good. He came out and in his presser said that he needs to start fast, something that we didn't see last year. Something that he thinks, especially being a second year in the scheme, that is certainly possible. Like you said, second year scheme, second year coach, second year position coach as well, and Zach Streif. Hopefully Ben Powers can start picking it up. Obviously, it's second day of pads. Still a lot of time in front of us. Like even McGlinchey said, it's funny how you're more sore on non-pad days than you are on pad days, mainly because you're holding stance and you're trying to get into footwork, but you have no balance against going against another guy. So it's all about holding a pose a lot of times. You know what I mean? If you ever watch these guys out there without pads on, I can imagine how strenuous that can be underneath the sun. But that being said, I wanted to jump to one really quick. I know it's completely off agenda. Golly, you guys, all your there we go. Dan over here. We have so many comments coming in. It's tough trying to find you guys. Appreciate the posse. I haven't called that out, man. You guys have been hopping. You guys have been amazing. There's been side conversations. There have been so many good discussions that there's no possibility that we get to tonight. But man, I'll tell you what. I promise I could go back through and probably bookmark about an idea from each of you guys and gals that have come in here tonight and just lit it up. I appreciate you guys a ton. I'm going to get to Dan on this one. He says, let's talk about CB2 because he is big on cornerback Chris Abrams drain. And CB2 is a big position of need, a big position of question. And if we get that locked up, man, I'll tell you what, could be scary. Could be really scary. Albert, let's talk about cornerback 2, man, across from PS2. What are you looking at? He's high on Abrams drain. We got, Riley Moss and Mathis and all these different names out there. What are your thoughts on CB2?
I think Riley Moss needs to step up big time. We had high hopes of him last year, and it didn't really pan out. So let's see if we can change it around this year. I'm not familiar with the other cornerbacks much, but yeah, Riley Moss, I need to see him step up, and I think we can have a decent cornerback group if they all step up a little bit, except for PS2, of course, because he is himself. But PS2 has to step up too. He has to be the leader now. He is the one with a lot of experience. He knows how to do it, and he can teach those new guys a thing or two for free.
Very good. Got Albert's 2 cents. Trevor, I'll get your 3.5. What do you got, buddy?
Again, I agree with what Albert was saying about Riley Moss. I think Riley Moss needs to step up. You traded up, you give up assets to get him. It's time for him to step up and be the guy. But again, he's not going to go away. There's one veteran that's not going to go away from that challenge, and that's Mr. Levi Wallace, who the Broncos picked up this offseason. I've heard a lot of really good things about Levi Wallace up to this point. I wonder this, and this is going to be a question going forward, is how Riley Moss is looking, for one. Two, is Levi Wallace more of a safety blanket if Riley Moss doesn't pan out, or are they giving a best man opportunity, best player out there who performs the chance to start, at cornerback 2? That's a question that's going to have to be answered. I think we'll get those answers in preseason. But those two guys, I think, step out to me, more than anything. Abrams Drain, I like Abrams Drain. I just think that he's, again, one of those guys that maybe, for the long haul is a guy that you can rely upon unless he just shows out this year. I do think that Levi Wallace, Riley Moss, Damari Mathis as well are a couple names to keep in mind in front of him up to this point. But I think that Broncos, there's something there with Abrams Drain for sure.
I got to get to this, Phil. I don't know if you're coming in a little sarcastic on me or what. You can let me know in the comments if you want. I'm going to address it either way. He says, good Lord, guys, if everyone quote unquote, steps up, we are in the playoffs. I'll tell you what. I like I said from the get, I like the way that Sean Payton is talking. I like the way that he has a little bit more moxie about him this year. I like the way that he feels about his wide receiver room. I like the way he's talking about his defensive line. I like the way that he just feels like, go ahead and doubt us. I think it's something a little different this year that we're going to shock a few people. We're going to scare a few people. We might even get on a run and have people shaking in their boots from time to time. That's how I feel about this team. Not the runs like we had like last year where we're like, oh, we're on this amazing run of barely winning games and not looking all that good. No, I mean, I think we could go out there and we could shock and scare some people this year. And I'm excited for it. And I think that Broncos country needs to get excited about it. I am hoping this is truly the turning of the page. It feels like it's on the cusp. And I'm telling you what, if things fall together, if people quote unquote step up, I think we could see something really exciting. I think Sean Payton sees it too, man. That being said, I'll let you guys, we were right at the hour, so I'm going to let you guys start wrapping it up and kind of getting out of here. I appreciate the posse a ton. I'll probably say that a few more times before I get out of here this evening, guys, but I'm going to let Albert start off by saying goodbye and good night and thank you. And man, I can't wait to get us all on the screen again and get the posse all rounded up and have a great conversation. Albert, good night. What do you got for us?
Well, it looks like they're going to start a petition for me riding on horseback over the field with a Ricola commercial.
Yes, sir.
The chat was on fire. It really was fun to see. It makes our lives easier and easier. And yeah, we cannot put all the comments on board, but we definitely had one of the hottest chats for in a while. The list of names is long, and we had even a couple new ones in there as well.
Of course, we love them.
And for all the people who sent the stars, thank you. It really will help us. I want to thank Ernie, Scott, Graham, Pearl, the Ronk, because now I have to differentiate between two Michaels, Paul, Roy, Big Sis, Patrick, Kenny, D-Rock, Phil, my lovely wife Michelle, Clayton, Jody, Kurt, and here's the other Michael Tafoya, who is new in the chat, Dan Wilcott, Greg, Vicky, Bronco. Yeah, guys and girls, our lives is so much easier with an active chat like that. We cannot stay on our agenda if we have a live chat because we have to address what you guys are saying, and it makes it fun for us because we don't know what subject we will be talking then. We love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, love letting you guys take over the agenda. You guys are amazing. You're amazing Broncos fans. Trevor will talk more about that. He's got to say his goodbyes as well, man. What do you got for us, Trevor?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to a couple of news tidbits that we heard today from our Bronco tidbits, I should say. Mr. Kareem Jackson signed with the Buffalo Bills today, and then former cornerback Fabian Moreau signs with the Minnesota Vikings today. So congratulations to those guys. Hopefully they have a great year. I'm wishing them nothing but the best. But again, speaking of the best, our posse is just the best, guys. Honestly, you guys just are amazing. Just being here, supporting us, dropping stars is just a bonus. But just having you guys here, commenting, left and right, it just means a lot to us. And subscribing, and I really appreciate you guys being patient with us on Friday. I know we had a little bit later of a show, but we still, no matter what, we're still gonna bring a show out to you guys. When we're scheduled to. So just really appreciate you guys' patience for that. I'm glad to have Keith back tonight, as always. The best host out there, and then of course Dutchie, giving him the flowers too, just one of the best co-hosts out there. So just want to appreciate you guys for everything you guys do. You guys are amazing posse. This is why we do it, and looking forward to Friday's episode, and hope you guys have a great week, and go Broncos.
Yeah, go Broncos for sure, man. I'll tell you what else. I got to say, go Ronk. Ronk's dropping 500 stars to get us out of here tonight, guys. So just saying, great show tonight. Keith, Albert, Trevor, giving those orange and blue hearts, giving us the clapping it up like I thought he was doing to start off the show. Not that just that mile high salute, but mile high salute to you, Ronk. I appreciate you so much. Dropping 500 stars. I know not everybody can do it. We try to get to every single comment regardless. We do try to give a little special attention when people can and will go out of their way. So we appreciate you, Michael, but we appreciate everyone. I don't want to ever make you feel like you're less supported by not dropping stars. But boy, I tell you what, it sure does help. And like I said, great things to come. You guys are a big part of it, every single one of you, because I tell you what, if you can't drop those stars, I can tell you what you can do. You can like, you can share, you can subscribe, you can make sure every single one of your friends knows about the Denver Bronco Roundup, Rocky Mountain Sports Network, Morgan Trinkets. I'm telling you what, guys, all the fantastic support that we've gotten from everybody over the years. We keep getting bigger, we keep getting better, and the reason we get better is because everything that you guys contribute to us, all the comments, all the likes, all the shares, all the subscribes, the stars when you can. We love you guys so much. Can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys. You guys have given us tons of love throughout the show and lots of love getting out tonight, man. That being said, we do got to get out of here. I do got to tell you though, remember, we come on 7:15 every Tuesday, every Friday, Mountain Standard Time, Rocky Mountain Sports Network. This is the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. We are brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network. We are sponsored by the amazing Morgan Trinkets. And tonight we're going to go ahead and get out of here so that we can see you again, well, on Friday. That being said, keep your feet in the stirrups, keep your guns in the holsters, and of course, keep the Broncos in your heart. We're out of here, everyone. Good night.